Hi everyone. I have another files about aliens entities. These files explain how they look and how they live and where they live. Universe in underground Earth is very long. I divided three or four part will be, and I hope you enjoy it. Alien Encyclopedia. In order to save confusion in one's attempt to categorize all of the various alien entities encountered during paranormal events, it is possible to break down most, if not all, of the reports into two entities type or categories of intelligent, tough, not necessarily benevolent entities. We leave it up to the reader to come to their own conclusion concerning the plausibility of the existence of the specific alien groups mentioned in the paragraph below, based on their own review of the evidence and documentation contained in the accompanying files. We are convinced, regardless of the reliability of specific accounts, that the overall evidence strongly suggests that the two general intellectual entities group inhabit this general sector of the galaxy and that these two groups are, generally speaking, in conflict with each other to some extent. Aside from this obvious fact, there are numerous accounts which seem to corroborate these theses. Yet these theses these should nevertheless be weighted by the reader in the light of their corroborative elements, documentation, the sincerity and reputation of the numerous witnesses, and other evidence, both physical and circumstantial, for want of better terms. We will refer to these two root categories as follows. 1. Evademic or EVAs. Those entities which may be considered to be members of the human family of races possessing an internal soul matrix. 2. Draconian or Dracos. Those entities which are apparently soulless, possessing no internal soul matrix, which have been associated with the Neo-Saurian or reptilian genetic lines. Since a cosmic conflict is taking place between these two groups, and especially between the fallen and unfallen angelic or light beings which influence the physical world for evil or good respectively, the standing angelic usually working with the humanoid, and the fallen angelic with the reptilian or serpent race as suggested in Revelation 12:7. One group part of the other's physical dominion or territory at any given time. The following list of humanoid and reptilian entities inhabiting terran, subterranean, and exterran realms is by no means complete appellations or names given to the various groupings, are for the most part the names which are already in use to describe them, except for some cases where the actual name of the entities is uncertain, in which cases we have given them descriptive title for of another terms. We relate those groups which have consistently been reported by various sources, regardless of any substantial evidence whether such alien groups actually exist or not. Many of the groupings may go by various other names as well. The following synopsis of the various alien groups is based upon hundreds of corroborating accounts of encounter with terran, subterran, or exterran groups over a period of several years. For a basic foundation of galactic geography, several corroborating accounts suggest the existence of three major ET alliances. One, the Federation based in Vega, Lyra, Taygeta, Pleiades, Tau, Ceti, Wolf 424, Procyon, Alpha Centauri, and Zeta Reticuli. I. and any other. Mostly humanoid of or non-interventionist philosophy. 2. The empire based in Alpha Draconis, Epsilon Bootis, Rigel, Orion, Bellatrix Orion, Polaris Nemesis, a dark star or protostar with insufficient mass to ignite, which condenses into a giant frozen sphere lying outside our system in the direction of Orion, yet closer than Alpha Centauri, having been recently detected by Iris satellites. And theoretically too, etc. mostly reptilian of an interventionist philosophy. 3. The corporate a collective intelligence based alliance centered largely in the Sol system, Sirius B, Arcturus, Aldebaran, Alter, Aquila, Boots, Centaurus, and Bernard Star, and reptilian collaborating from rebellar non-interventionism to conservative interventionism. With the introduction, we now begin with the alien encyclopedia. Insiders, the resident either permanent or temporary of the various different secret society connected top secret government underground installation bases or colonies throughout the United States and the world. Some of this group may possess advanced technology enabling them to travel to various other planetary bodies in the solar system. This group is international in scope and may be tied in with the alternative 2 and 3 scenarios epidemic. Pleiadians, blonde or in some cases brunette Nordic, type human based in the Pleiadians, Taygeta, and other systems which were allegedly colonized by refugees from their former planetary abodes in the Lyra constellation, which were invaded by reptilian entities from Alpha Draconis. The main Pleiadian planet of Erra was reportedly terraformed by the Lyran refugees, Lyra being much nearer to Earth around 30 light years. The Pleiadians were apparently the first humanoid society to develop hyperspace travel. The US government has reportedly known how to tap in to hyperspace ever since the Philadelphia experiment of the 1940s. The Pleiadians claim that their technology surpasses our international technology by about 3,000 years. This may explain why the humans in Lyra were able to travel the vast distance from this part of the galaxy to colonize the Pleiades. Some 430 light years from Terra Earth, the Pleiadians consider themselves to be part of the Andromedan Council, based within some of the planetary system within the Andromeda constellation. Lyra. Supposing that the human inhabitants of Lyra, who are said to have a common origin with the Terran humanoid, were driving out of that system several thousand of years ago, then it is likely that some of the present-day inhabitants of the Lyra constellation may be of reptilian descent. During the Lyrian Wars, which are mentioned in several contacts, account a mass exodus of humans reportedly left the system and escaped to the Pleiadians, the Hyades, which are 130 light years from Earth in the Taurus constellation, and to Vega, which is also in Lyra. This region, like our own system, may still be a battleground between Saurians, Greys, and humans. Telosian, tall, blonde inhabitant of the re-established network of subsurface antediluvian colonies located throughout the western states and concentrated around Mount Shasta in northern California. They are sometimes referred to erroneously as Lemurian, as it is believed that the cavern cities, which they rediscovered and built upon, were once part of an antediluvian civilization called Lemuria. Lemuria is actually a hypothetical lost continent in the Indian Ocean. The Pacific continent was called Elam. They may have lost contact with the Pleiadian and other groups via ancient ancestral ties. Since the Telosian are Earth native who allegedly possess interstellar vehicle and are a western branch of the sub-international Agarthy network and its Silver Fleet. The name Telos is a Greek word meaning uttermost or purpose, yet some of the inhabitants refer to ancient ties with Neo-Mayan tribes, and therefore many of them may possess a Greco-Mayan ancestry. Some ancient Vedic texts speak of the collaboration between the Greek and the first East Indians, who some believe gave rise to the Mayas. In the development and construction of serial craft called Viminas, Telosian are part of a Melchizedek spiritual order which connection to the Ashtar collective mind and have dealing with extraterrestrial in Arcturus, Sirius, and Saturn, as well as with other dimensional beings. The orange. These entities largely converge beneath Southern Nevada, northern New Mexico, and possibly Utah. Some sources refer to a human race with stalky yellow, red, or orange hair. Others of a genetically altered humanoid reptilian strain or hybrid. They are often described often as having a humanoid form. Yet certain reptilian genetic features, they are also said to possess human-like reproductive organs and possibly or not a human soul matrix and therefore a divergent branch of the human race or reptilian race, depending on which type of orange one is referring to, as some accounts suggest there may also be orange colored reptilians which possess no soul matrix. Some of the orange allegedly have connection to Bernard stars. Chameleon. Reptilians genetically breed to enable themselves to appear human, also less humanoid appearing. Reptilian, a form of technosis, molecular shape shifting and or laser hologram to produce an outward human appearance. Reports of this have surfaced from underground joint operational facilities near Dulce, New Mexico, Dogway, Utah, Groom Lake, Nevada, Deep Springs, California, Fort Lewis, Washington, and elsewhere. They are reportedly involved in some type of infiltration agenda. These infiltrators can appear remarkably human outwardly, however, at the same time retaining reptilian or neo-saurian internal organs, often described as appearing bulge-eyed with scaly, hairless skin behind their disguise. One report alleged that the chameleons may utilize artificial lenses to conceal slit pupilled iris. Some claim they are genetically bred mercenaries who are part of an advanced guard of a planet's silent invasion takeover of human society. Solarians, human residents of the Sol system who claim to have ties with ancient Terran societies, especially sub-Terran societies which developed of planet travel early on and established underground bases and colonies on various planets, including the Jovian moons and the Saturnian moons, on or under which they have allegedly established a tribunal center for the federated Solarian planets. Nagas, also referred to as the reptilian reptons, Homosaurus, lizardmen, or the large-nosed greys. They play a significant role in the legends of India and Tibet, where they are considered by some to be demonical residents of a subterranean realm. They are described as being around 7 and 8 feet tall and of various colors, grotesque but most often moldy greenish, with scaled crocodilian skin, allegedly descended from a branch of bipedal sauropods which existed thousands of years ago on Earth and via mutation and natural selection developed the brain-body coordination necessary to develop a technology some species still reportedly retain a visible tail, although much atrophied from their supposedly existing saurian ancestors. Some abductees claim that the lizard people resemble a humanoid version of a velociraptor. After a repeated battle in ancient times between a pre-Scandinavian race from the Gobi region and Reptilian race, based in Antarctica, the Reptilians allegedly lost the battle for domination of the surface world and were driving into an underground network in which they eventually developed aerial and space technology. The Greens, human of normal size yet who possess an olive green skin color. They claim to be from a subterranean or cavernous realms beneath Europe, which they refer to as St. Martin's Land. Iguanoids, approximately 4 and 5 feet tall, with iguana-like appearances, yet humanoid configuration. They have sometimes been seen wearing black hooded monk robes or cloaks, which conceal much of their saurian features, which include tails. These have been reported as being extremely dangerous and hateful towards humans and lesser-ranking reptilians such as greys, and like all other branches of the serpent race, they utilize black witchcraft, sorcery, and other forms of mind control against their enemies. They appear to be divination hopping sorcerer or priest, class among the reptilian species. Ummitis, human claiming to hail from the general area of Wolf 424, some 14 plus light years distant from the Earth's solar system and possibly having ancient ties with the Lyran colonies, in that the Ummitis from the planet Ummu are like the Lyran Pleiadians, said to be Scandinavian in appearances, and therefore may tie in which the so-called Nordic or blonde societies. They reportedly work closely with the vegan humanoids. Reticulans, apparently a major center of reptilian activity and possibly controlled human slaves. This is a region from where a large percentage of the grey-type saurians, such as encountered by Betty and Barney Hill and other abductees, emanate binary or double star system may be the center of interstellar grey activity, just as Alpha Draconis seems to be the center of reptilian activity, and Orion being a realm where both reptilian subspecies operate in joint capacity. Much of the implant control scenario allegedly originated from the reticulan grey reptilians. Syrians. Sirius is the apparent epicenter of the Ashtar or asteroid collective where humanoid of various types Sasquatch, reptiloid, grey, insectoid, and reptilian insectoid hybrid species, as well as cybernetic men in black entities, have collaborated in the past. The Syrians have waged war in the past with the Orion Empire or the Unholy Six reptilian star system. In the Orion Open Cluster, the ancient dispute involved just who will serve as the landlord of a sector of space containing 21 star system, including the most strategic star system Sol, and particularly planet Earth, Terra or Shan, which is virtual cosmic oasis of water, mineral, plant, animal, and genetic resource in incredible variety compared with most other worlds. This dispute between the Syrian and Orion reptilians dates back to the ancient invasion of the Orion by the Draconian Empire, as a result of which many Nordic type humanoids escaped to Procyon, Sol, Sirius, and elsewhere. In recent time, a rift or split has occurred in the Ashtar collective following the discovery of massive infiltration into the collective by taking side with the Federation, which has a major Earth base under Furnace Creek, California, and many of the reptilians taking side with the Orion Draconian Empire, which has a major Earth base below Dulce, New Mexico, a collaboration of sorts, via the electronic collective mind, which links humanoid reptilian intelligences into a master mainframe via psionic implant. Still exists, however, a collective collaboration which maintains bases under Paradox Nevada, Dogway, Utah, and near the Denver International Airport in Colorado. This Warring Series B is gravitating toward the Sol system in that opposing edge, for this system is one of the issues of dispute between two or three varying factions. Leviathans, sea saurians, sea serpents such as the so-called Loch Ness monster. Loch Ness has been the site of much occult of paranormal activity, including UFO activity. Gray, citing a Aleister Crowley, the Satanist illuminist, founder of the Otto or Ordo Templi Orientis, claimed to be in contact with the beast of the loch. He owned a mansion on the shore of the loch, and this same mansion later became the residence of the British occultist Jimmy Page, who not only played with the British rock group Led Zeppelin, but also owned a large bookstore dealing with witchcraft and occult beings aquatic in nature, and having lost the use of their limbs via atrophication and mutation. This branch of the serpent race is allegedly used for long-range psychic warfare and occult manipulation of the human race. Demon Eyes, a race of Pisakap humans some 7 to 8 feet tall, which pulse blue skin and large wrap around eyes which are extremely sensitive to light. They may be the same as the large human allegedly encountered on the moon by our astronauts, according to John Lear and others, who in turn were silenced and not allowed to tell what they saw. These people may, according to some account, be allied to the Nordics and or Blondes. They claim to be descendants of Noah, who traveled to the Western Hemisphere a few centuries following the deluge and discovered ancient antediluvian cavern system. The ancient technologies which had been abandoned by the antediluvians in deep subterranean recesses. They have been encountered mostly in deep cavern system beneath the general region of the Ozark, Arkansas and surrounding region. Icals or satyrs, small hairy humanoid with cloven hooves, which inhabited the cavern beneath South America and elsewhere. They may be members of fallen pre-Adamic race, which possessed angelic, animal, and humanoid characteristics. Now allied with the reptilians, they have been known, according to natives, to kidnap women and children down through the age, and many stories are told of South American tribes who have battled this creature which managed during certain of their forays to the surface in search for women, children, and food. The Anakim, also referred to the elves, short for the elder race, or simply as the giants, referred to an ancient Hebrew tradition. This race is allegedly tied in with a branch of ancient human who broke off from mainstream humanity because of their vast size, which had developed over the centuries, possibly as a result of a genetic anomaly. They are said to range anywhere from 9 to 11 feet, and in some cases even 12 feet. In height, although in configuration, they are remarkably similar to international humans, are said to possess a mean of molecular condensing and expansion which allows some of their kind to mingle among humans in the surface. They have allegedly been encountered in deep and extreme cavern system below the western part of North America, as far north as Alaska, as far south as Mexico, and as far east as Texas. They are believed to have interstellar traveling capabilities. The Greys, small neo-Saurian humanoids, very prolific and intelligence may be the brain of the intellect of the serpent race, whereas the larger reptoid allegedly act of physical overlords and thus are of a higher ranking than the Greys. The Greys are logic-based and reportedly operate based animal survival or predatory instincts, and, and in most cases are emotionally insensitive to humans, and like other reptilian they feed off of human and animal vital fluids by rubbing a liquid protein formula on their bodies, which is then absorbed through the skin. Like typical reptiles, which shed their skins, the waste is extracted back through the skin. The greys range from 3.5 to 4.5 feet tall on the average, with skin color ranging from gray-white to gray-brown to gray-green to gray-blue, aside from feeding of the human and animal proteins and fluids. They also allegedly feed off the life energy, the vital essence of soul energy of humans, as do other reptilian species. This is why those humans seen working with the Greys, implanted and programmed drones, whether willingly or unwillingly, have appeared lifeless and emotionless to the witnesses who observed them. The Greys are reportedly extremely deceitful, and although they act on logic, to them it's logical to use extremely complex forms of deception to bring about their goals. They are the most commonly observed alien entities encountered during UFO events. Hybrids. Since human and reptilian beings are genetically so different in their physical makeup, a natural hybrid between the two is impossible. However, an unnatural genetic alteration, in essence splicing, human and reptilian genes has allegedly been attempted. Even if this were accomplished, the offspring would not be an actual hybrid, half human, half reptilian, but would fall to one side or the other, since reptilians possess the soul metric as the human, but instead operate at collective consciousness level. The hybrid would be human or reptilian depending on whether it was born with or without a soul energy matrix. In most cases, one might tell the difference in the entities had round pupils as opposed to black opaque or vertical slit puppet eyes, or 5-digit finger as opposed to 3 or 4, or external genitalia as opposed to none. This may not always be the rule, especially when the chameleons are considered. Some of the hybrids without souls are fed with the human soul energy in an attempt to engraft an already existing human soul matrix into the hybrid. Who built hybrids possessing reptilian and human genetic coding, yet who possesses a human soul matrix? Hybrid hybrids possessing no soul matrix. Some of these may possess human-like genetic coding yet no soul, while others may be an apparent hybrid or two or more reptilian species. It must be understood that the reptilians are far more adaptable or mutant than are humans. Physically, this would mean that we should expect much greater rate of physical diversity between the reptilian species than between the various human species. Such mutation should not have to take place over millions of years, but through eons or even centuries, especially when one considers the possibility that controlled natural selection, mutation, genetic manipulation, and even occult technological molecular shape shifting may have been responsible for accelerating this process. Chupacabra. Many of the killings are associated with strange creatures we have called the anomalous biological entities ABEs. It is reportedly a cross between a creature known as a grey alien humanoid mainly because the shape of its head and eyes and what most witnesses describe as the body of bipedal erect dinosaurs but with no tail. Its head is oval in shape and has an elongated jaw. Two elongated red eyes have been reported together with a small hole in the nostrils area, a small slit-like mouth with fang-type teeth protruding upward and downward from the jaw. Other witnesses have seen small pointed ears, but this feature has not been seen by other witnesses. It appears to have strong coarse hair all over its body, and while most observers claim the hair is black, it has the remarkable ability to change color at will, almost like chameleon. In the dark, it will change to black or a deep brown color. In a sunlit area surrounded by vegetation, it changes to green, green-gray, light brown, or beige. The creature has two small arms with the three-fingered clawed hand and two strong hind legs. Again with three claws, these appear to enough to run quickly and leap over trees. Some witnesses allege over 20 feet in a single bound. According to many observations, the creature's legs look almost reptilian or goat-like. It has quill-like appendages running down from its back with what seem of fleshy membranes that change color from blue to green, red to purple. A number of witnesses claim the creature flaps at incredible speed. Its tail and appendages allowing it actually fly. The tail apparently is used to guide its flight only, controlled mainly by the winds. Only occasionally seen to flap, first reported in the town of Orocovis. The abyss have been sighted in municipality of Canovanas and in many areas of Puerto Rico. Its habitat are both diurnal and nocturnal. As a matter of fact, it has been seen in broad daylight by several witnesses. One such occasion was witnessed by Madalia Tolentino and her neighbors in the Campo Rico community. They all observed it walking down a street at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. As they approached it, the creature ran away at a fantastic speed and escaped. Mothman, largely subterranean pterodactyloid-like humanoid with bat-like wings, sometimes described as possessing horns, and those are considered very similar to the traditional depiction of the devil according to certain individuals who have encountered them. Very intelligent and extremely malignant, although often referred to as Mothman. This little might be a little misleading. These creatures, which have also been referred to as the Siakars, Pteroids, Birdmen, and Winged Draco, have been encountered near underground system near Montauk Point, Long Island, Mont Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and Dulce, New Mexico. Dwarfs, diminutive humans who have allegedly been encountered in or near caverns in various parts of the world, including northern California and the southeastern Arizona, southwestern New Mexico region, and in some in connection to UFOs. Although most reported dwarf sightings in connection to UFO are actually sightings of the Saurian Greys. This should not be confused with the small elemental or nature spirits, which some believe are ethereal in nature yet have the ability to appear in solid or semi-solid form at times. The dwarf races are allegedly just as human as surface people, but average between 3 or 4 feet in height. Although at the times they have been seen as small as 2 feet, as which the giants or else this diminutive may have resulted in a genetic anomaly which ran its course due to the separation of their race from the international gene pool. They allegedly live in subterranean system to a large extent as a protective measure, and as we say, some allegedly possess IRLDs, technology and interplanetary travel capabilities. Synthetic of several different type of varieties. Although reptilian and human apparently utilize artificial intelligence devices or organisms. Technology itself being amoral, neither good or nor evil. The draconian as well as some controlled human have apparently developed biosynthetic or mechanical entities as extensions of their activities. This is especially true with the biosynthetic cybernetic creature, which the reptilians have allegedly created using cybernetic and biological organs stolen from animal and human mutilation victims. The synthetics are of many types, some of which are very human-like and which may be used as infiltrator. Others apparently look more like the grey entities created after their own image, so to speak, yet are not reptilian, yet instead a type of molded entity from containing a sponge-like substance which permeates an interior. They may be the worst of all, as they are apparently biogenetic forms which are able to be inhabited or possessed by the infernals, poltergeists, or fallen supernatural entities as containers, enabling them to operate in the physical realm. Eva Borgs, cybernetic forms controlled by human entities or human who have been implanted or surgically altered to such an extent that they have become cybernetic in nature yet still retaining a soul matrix. Drago Borgs, cybernetic forms controlled by reptilian entities. These would also include those forms which are animated by fallen supernatural or paraphysical entities, whether of grey human-like, mechanical, or other configuration. There are some who suggest that human appearing infiltrators of this type may exist in our society, and that certain characteristics might give them away. The eyes a slightly sulfurous smell, unrefined features such as no fingerprint or ears or other body parts which seem to have slight artificial appearance. MIBs, Men in Black, also referred to as the Men in Black or Horlocks. These are apparently in many cases human who are controlled by draconian influences, out of other MIB have been encountered which do not seem human, but more reptilian or synthetic. The MIB have been encountered often after UFO sightings, usually intimating witnesses into keeping silent about what they have seen. Many of the witnesses may be the abductees with supposed memories of the event. Their threats appear to be motivated by attempts to utilize terrorism, fear, or intimidation as a psychological weapon against witnesses. This weapon may not only be used to keep the human myth under control, but by the human myths themselves. They are often too tough, not always seen in connection with large black automobiles, some of which have been seen disappearing into mountains, as in the case of one basing area between Hopland and Lakewood, California, or in some cases apparently appear out of or disappear. into the air. Most humanoid myths have probably been implanted by the Draconian and are essentially their slaves. Biosynthetic forms possessed by Infernal also seem to play a part in the myth scenario, as the subterranean exterran society, Sirius at only 9 plus light years away, has been identified as a major exterran MIP center of activity with a subterranean counterpart existing in ancient antediluvian Atlantean underground complexes, which have been re-established beneath the eastern US seaboard. Dragon worms. These creatures are largely subterranean and have been reported on very rare occasions, although a mutation of the serpent race, which lost the use of its limbs through centuries of atrophication. It is nevertheless apparently a part of the reptilian conspiracy. The dragon worms are reportedly very intelligent, according to certain sources. They have sometimes been described as appearing similar to a giant reptilian worm or slug. Agarians or Agarthians, a group of Asiatic or Nordic humans whose sources claim discovered a vast system of caverns below the region of the Gobi Desert and surrounding area thousands of years ago and have since established a thriving kingdom within one which has been interacting with other planetary systems. Up until current times was cavern system below Tibet allegedly linked the Agarthy system of Central Asia to Snakewood, a multi-leveled cavern system under the southwestern slopes of the Himalayas where the Nagas dwell. According to Hindu legend, here a serpent cult of human and reptilian collaborator dwells, one which is said to have had contact with Nazi Tool Society during World War II. Long ago, an Asian prince is said to have led several militant followers warrior monks into the caves and came to conflict with the serpent cult. Following the conflict, the reptilian and collaborating forces were driving out. However, in recent centuries, they have regained some ground. Burrowers, another mutation of the saurian or serpent race that is capable of burrowing through the earth, possibly quadrupedal as well as bipedal. These have been known to use their natural boring abilities to create artificial tunnels like moles or even spontaneously produced cave-ins. The latter has allegedly been used in an attempt to entrap or kill unsuspecting intruders into the underground domain. This may possess a highly developed biosensing system. Scythians or Taoistians, a human race of Mediterranean or South American appearing tan-skinned humans, very similar to Caucasian humans on Terra except for slight differences, slightly pointed ear, higher physical density for their size, slightly broader nose, 5.5 tall on average, and often wear short Roman or Creve style haircuts. Tau Ceti and Epsilon Eridani are said to be the major convergence of the external human activity and are said to be in alliances with the Pleiadians, who in turn, according to contactees, have federated alliances with the Vejan and Ummids and others. The Setian alliance with the Pleiadian and other societies who have been victimized by the grey predators. is based on a desire to establish a common defense against their reptilian nemesis. Sasquatch, large hairy humanoid who are usually troglodytal or cavern dwellers, although they have been known to forage through mountainous or wooded area on the surface in search for roots, berries, grasses, and nuts, which make up their diet. They are believed to possess a heightened sensing ability, which allows them to steer clear of human influence. They are more human than animal, according to some reports, although they have often been mistaken for animals, which has forced them to take up a largely subterranean lifestyle. They have often been described as having a human face on the ape-like body. They are mostly strict vegetarian, which may be explained by the possibility that they might be a hybrid or hybrid between antediluvian human and sapiens. Such interbreeding, if possible back then, is certainly not possible in modern times due to increasingly diverging genetic strain between the two groups. Most Sasquatch apparently possess a human soul matrix. They are usually described as being 6 to 9 feet tall, while other branches may be smaller, hairier humanoid. But larger and smaller dwarf-like entities have on some occasion been observed in connection with UFO encounters or subterranean encounters. Sasquatch have been known to attack humans only in self-defense, sometimes throwing large boulders or to frighten intruders away. There have also been hairy humanoids which possess either robot-like or amphibian characteristics, suggesting biogenetic manipulation to create biological machines or cyborgs. There is possibility that other entities, possibly more animal than human, are the result of humanoid Sasquatch and non-human sapien interbreeding or genetic manipulation, in which case the offering might be more human or beast in nature. But this is mere speculation. Other type of hairy humanoid is allegedly genetic manipulation and have been reported bases in northwestern New Mexico and in southern Nevada. Sasquatch apparently have the ability to spontaneously induce invisibility through producing an electromagnetic psychic shield around themselves and are said to commute between our dimension and a fifth dimensional realm. Serpents. These are literally giant snakes which have been encountered in various underground regions. They are often apparently used by the Draconian as sentries to guard subterranean tunnels or treasure repositories. They have been known to easily crush a human being or other object with their teeth or their bodies. Ulteran or ultra-terrestrial. These are said to be people who have been encountered at times entering or living an alternate or parallel existence, yet still operating with no one reality. It is very unlikely that more than one physical reality like ours exists. Yet there is a theoretical possibility that another coexistent world might exist on the opposite end or polarity of the electromagnetic barrier. Many humanoid and or neo-Saurian inhabitants of this alternate world, if it exists, originally came from our own world through some type of vortex or through high-tech means. There are said to be four intersecting universes which make up the omniverse. One is the matter universe, the other is the antimatter universe, The nature of the other two is the unknown perhaps. The matter and antimatter universe each have a forward and reverse time flow fast. Each of the four universes allegedly have 11 dimensional densities, with the 12th density which is currently unfolding as a result of super energies which are emanating from the black holes at the center of the galaxies. This multidimensional reality may explain various phenomena, such as animals, objects, people, and entire vessels, which have seemingly fallen into or out of our world. It may also be possible that certain objects in our world would be invisible in the other realm or dimension, or rather the opposite polarity of our reality, and vice versa. For instance, one airplane pilot who had become temporarily caught up in an M vortex in the Bermuda Triangle saw an island which was deserted while the very same island was inhabited in the world. He was familiar with this. Would also explain the many accounts of people who claim to have seen or stopped at houses, cafes, hotels, or other sites along remote stretches of road, only to return the same way and find that no such place exists, since both dimensions may flow into each other, being part of the same electromagnetic spectrum. Such temporary displacement of object and or people from one world to another might occur. This is not saying that one necessarily has alternate self inhabiting the alternate dimension, but more case of another dimension or universe which were inhabited intentionally or unintentionally over a long period of time by humans, animal or other beings which were somehow transported there. This would also explain the case Joseph Warren, who suddenly appeared as out of nowhere near Frankfurt am Oder, Germany in 1850, spoke a broken and ancient Para-Germanic dialect, which the authorities could just barely understand and claim it to be from the nation of Laxaria in Sakria. No known country by those names exists in our world. When he suddenly appeared, he seemed disoriented and dumbfounded as if he had suddenly fallen out of another world. Atlants. These are human, usually described as being benevolent by comparison to other groups, who are said to inhabit vast and complex cavern cities beneath southern Brazil and surrounding region. The term Atlantean or Atlant, in reference to these races, has been placed open then because of the fact that this cavern network along the east coast of Brazil were reportedly once a part of the antediluvian Atlantean Empire. The present inhabitants have no direct genetic relation to the ancient Atlantean society, which is said to have controlled this cavern system several millennia ago, but are referred to as Atlanteans simply because they are descendants of those who rediscovered and inhabited the ancient Atlant and gnome-like humans have been encountered here, some of which possess advanced aerial or dish technology. The Telosians claim to have some connection with South America, especially the Mato Grosso region, where a sister city named Posit existed, a large cavern system underground. Antarctican. This is allegedly a secret area of operation for both human and reptilian beings. It is said by some that Aryan Nazi scientists actually developed disc-shaped aircraft capable of very advanced discs. They may be piloted by a purebred blonde blue-eyed Aryan race. There appeared to be more than one blonde human society involved in the UFO scenario, and especially subterranean. Human societies may have developed blonde hair due to of sunlight. There does not seem to be anything more than a peripheral connection between the Antarctican, the Telosian, and the Pleiadian blonde. We will refer to the Antarctican as the Aryan, the Telosian as the blondes, and the Pleiadian as the Nordic in order to discourage confusion. The Antarcticans may consist largely of batch consigned purebred blue-eyed blonde Aryan who became victim of Hitler's obsession to create a super race, and as suggested by Harbinson and others, most of these may be controlled through mind manipulation and implant being human drone, who are used to keep this hidden society functioning. A massive joint humanoid reptilian underground system called the New Berlin is said to lie below the mountain of New Shabadland, Antarctica. It is said by some sources that this joint human alien force has spread terror through this sector of the galaxy, conquering and committing untold atrocities against the peaceful inhabitant of other world. The famous abducted Barney Hill, who along with his wife Betty was abducted by Zeta Reticuli Grace in 1961, stated under regressive hypnosis that he had encountered an evil-eyed German Nazi working with the Grace. On board, the craft is claimed that the original treaty with the Grey was established by the Bavarian tool and Illuminati societies as early as 1933, and this collaboration was brought into America via the CIA, which was established with the help of American Nazi Fifth Column agents, as well as European Nazi, who were brought into America through Project Paperclip and other operations. Teros, a term describing various human groups who inhabited the cavern system and re-established antediluvian cities beneath the North American continent. Many of these may be descended from early American colonists, while others are apparently descended from older civilizations, such as ancient Native American who went underground hundreds and or thousands of years ago. The nemesis of the Tero are the Dero, which apparently consist of draconian or reptilian controlled element. Martians, inhabitant of the planet Mars, both human and non-human, including the alleged inhabitant of two Martian moons, which many believe to be artificially hollowed asteroids, one of which, Phobos, is said to be under the control of the original Greys or self-reproducing Greys, which are the host for the Grey clone, which operate from various space stations that are discussed a planetoid. It is from the carrier ships that the abduction, implantation, programming, mutilation, infiltration, and other projects. It has also been suggested that thousands of years ago the surface of Luna and Mars were much more habitable, that the surface of these bodies may have been decimated after passing through the asteroid belt or an asteroid storm, consisting of debris which may have been torn from the planet which apparently existed between Mars and Jupiter at one time, possibly destroyed by a close encounter with another planetary body. In the tradition of Velikovsky theories, it is believed that ancient ruins, possibly thousands of years old, have been seen on both planets and that this attests to such a catalysm. Janosian. This is allegedly a planet of which human beings live or once lived. They apparently arrived on that planet some thousands of years ago, according to certain contactees, and had all along retained dim memories in legend concerning their ancient homeworld, planet Earth, where their ancestors lived long before their colonization of the planet Janus. They are said to be like Terran, although somewhat oriental and slender. A group of refugees is said to have left Janus centuries ago in a huge carrier vessel of roughly donut-shaped configuration after an asteroid or meteor shower devastated the surface of their planet, causing a chain reaction in their nuclear power grid, losing deadly radiation into the atmosphere and into the underground tunnels and cities which they had built beneath Janus. They apparently remembered the star Earth. Back reports stated that they were in a high orbit somewhere near the Earth and are seeking contact with Earth government to exchange technology for a place to live or below the Earth. In the tradition of the TV series The Alien Nation, in light of other revelation and lack of confirmation of other contacts, this might be a staged draconian propaganda operation. On the other hand, the account may be legitimate. Havmuzurs or Suvians, prominent in Paiute Indian tradition. The Havmuzurs were allegedly an Egyptian or Grecian-like seafaring race who discovered huge cavern around 3 to 5,000 years ago within and later deep beneath the Panamint Mountains of California. Within this they then established their vast underground cities when the inland sea, now Dead Valley, which connected the ocean in ancient times, dried up. They had no way to carry on trade with other parts of the world. As a result of this, according to Paiute Indian tradition, they began to build and fly silvery eagles, which became increasingly advanced as time went on. They then evidently established interplanetary and later interstellar travel, exploration, and colonization. This huge facility is now operating as a major federation based on Earth and possesses huge chambers with different environmental, atmospheric, and even gravitational conditions to accommodate the various visiting Federation dignitaries. Alpha Draconians, reptilian beings who are said to have established colonies in Alpha Dracon. Like all reptilians, they claim to have originated on Terra thousands of years ago, a fact that they use to justify their attempt to retake the Earth for their own. They are apparently a major part of planet invasion, which is eventually turning from covert infiltration mode overt invasion mode as the window of the opportunity. The time span before international human society becomes an interplanetary and interstellar power slowly begins to close. They are attempting to keep the windows open by suppressing advanced technology from the masses, which would lead to eventual Terran colonization of other planets by Earth and an eventual solution to the population pollution, food and other environmental problems, being that Terran have an inbred warriors instinct. The Draconians do not want them as to attain interstellar capabilities and therefore become a threat to their imperialistic agenda. Alterians, alleged reptilian inhabitants of the Altair stellar system in the constellation Aquila, in collaboration with a smaller Nordic human element and a collaborative gray and terran military presence, headquarters of the collective known as the corporate, which maintains ties with the Ashtar and Draconian collectives. Orions. Some claim that negative entities have been associated with some of the stars in the Orion constellation. Other sources claim that the Orion Nebula is a cosmic doorway to infinity or the realm of the Creator which transcends the time, space, matter universe. Some astronomers claim that a huge beautifully illuminated multicolored light has emerged from the nebula and is on an intercept course which Earth, although at a rather leisurely pace and at this rate, this light or star will reach Earth approximately 3000 AD, give or take 100 years. Could this have something to do with the prophecy in Revelation 21? Since the Draconian are attempting to conquer the heavens, they may have made futile attempts to enter the eternity gate and intercept the emerging light. War in heaven between Michael and the dragon. See Revelation chapter 12. This may explain the alleged presence of the Draconian in the Orion constellation, although certain human groups have allegedly become curious of the Eternity Gate. As well, the Orion Open Cluster itself is the base of a joint reptilian grey empire called the Unholy Six, which has been working out of Nemesis in an effort to sabotage the human presence in the Sol system. Many of the planetoids that have entered the system and have made observable course alteration are arriving from Nemesis and the Orion Draconian Empire. For Enian, the Phoenix Empire is allegedly a non-surface society which may be particularly connected with the Dulce subnet according to certain inside sources. It's uncertain whether this is a human or a reptilian empire. However, some indication suggests a collaboration. There may be a connection also with the Giza Empire. Below Egypt, which was established by ancient Egyptian collaborators, the so-called Komogaltu Empire, which is said to have some connection with the Ashtar collective as well as the Draconian collective. Gizan or Gizahn. The Gizeh people have been referred to the Pleiadian, Billy contacts, as well as others. These may have some connection with the strange people and technology allegedly encountered in deep labyrinth recesses beneath Egypt who were sometimes reportedly seen by explorers and who are said to dress like ancient Egyptians. There is allegedly, according to leading edge research, a huge cavern deep beneath Egypt which is inhabited by people with close ties with the US secret government. Some sources indicate that the Giza people may be control society with the reptilians being the dominant power, although there is still much mystery as to what the Giza Empire is all about. Amphibians, similar to the saurian or reptiliod, yet being humanoid creatures with reptilian as well as amphibian-like feature and are semi-aquatic in nature, may have once lived on land yet became more aquatic over the centuries. They have been encountered near swampy region, rivers, and have been known to attack people without being provoked. It is interesting that some types of greys and reptiliod are believed to be semi-aquatic, having bobbed fingers and toes. Grails. These are Saurian Grey type entities which are apparently somewhat taller than the usual encountered grays, yet which extremely thin, rail-like torso and limbs, yet very strong. Butians. Reptilian from the Boots system. These entities from the Draco's system are allegedly involved with the Dulce scenario, as well as the implantation control of human society on Earth, anticipation of their planet takeover at some point in the future. Vegans. Relatively peaceful and gentle humans, descended from refugees from the Lyran Wars, who were closely within other refugee colonies, now living in the Pleiades, Wolf 424, and elsewhere, often described as dark-skinned Orientals, similar to the native residents of the nation of India. Hyadians. The Hyadians in the constellation Taurus, like the Pleiades and Vega, are said to have been the destination of yet another group or refugee from the land's ancient Lyran wars. Bernarians, inhabitant of the Bernard star system, although not much has been writing about them, it seems that human beings, at least in part, control this star system along with the orange weather. The Saurians have any influences or not is certain. However, some sources indicate a possible collaboration similar to the within our own solar system. Corendian, human allegedly living on a colonized planet known as Corander, perfectly human in proportion yet 4 to 5 feet tall of the average. Gabriel Green described alleged contact with this group in publication during the late 1950s, early 60s. The accounts published by Gabriel Green were rather fantastic, although perhaps no less so than some other accounts. Robert Reynolds is one of the main Corinthian contactees, and he claims that they have a large underground facilities somewhere in Massachusetts. The Corinthian claim alliance with the Arthurian and are part of massive collective alliance of world who learn more to non-interventionism than to direct interventionism. Gypsies. Several sources refer to the Gypsies as having some connection with the UFO mystery. Other sources suggest a connection with high-tech subsurface kingdoms such as Agartha. The knowledge which the Gypsies allegedly possess of an ancient war, UFO craft, and so on, is supposedly a careful guarded secret among various Gypsy tribes. Some claim to have traced the Gypsies back to ancient India or surrounding region. The infamous Philadelphia experiment information sources Carlos Allenda was allegedly part of the Gypsy clan, which knowledge of the past or present history on alien culture, which have interacted behind the scene in Terran affair. Venusian, allegedly inhabited by physical entities, both human and reptilian, beneath the surface and therefore safe from the extreme surface condition, also allegedly inhabited on the surface by human beings, possibly colonists from Terra, Earth, who someone were able to fuse or generate their physical bodies' molecular structure into a fourth dimensional existence, wherein they now allegedly survive unaffected by the harsh physical condition. Other surface colonies allegedly exist in biodome cities, where still others reportedly live in the antimatter counterpart of Venus, which in the alternate universe is part of 12 planet alliance called the Goldasian Alliance, according to some contactees. The Pleiadians also claim to have colonized the antimatter universe, which they call the dull universe. And these are all the entities and their planet and name, and I read on my files. That's all. Thank you for the listening.